get people coming up and, like, how serious do they take the Rudy movie? Because my guys were upset with Joe Montana when Montana said, you know, a lot of fiction in the movie Rudy. And my guys were upset with Joe Montana.
He was absolutely right. Joe Montana was right. There was a lot of fiction in the movie, and it's based on a true story. But I want to say a couple things. When Joe Montana was a freshman, when Rudy was a senior, Joe Montana, when the movie came out, was one of the only people to get behind the story. He said he remembered Rudy. He said he really respected what happened on that thing. He was a really positive person around it. I don't know how many Super Bowl rings you have to win in order for when somebody meets you on the street to say, hey, did you meet the real guy who dressed for one game, like who played for 27 seconds? Like, I think Joe Montana has every right to put a little bit of context around the movie because he's a real person and he had a real experience. The movie, Rudy actually put out, when the movie came out, a list of things that were absolute creative license. For example, and Dan Devine called into a radio station when Rudy was promoting the movie, and he said, if any kid would have put their jersey on my desk, they never would have seen it again. And it was a dramatization of an idea that the players were supporting him, not true in the sense of did it actually historically happen. Other things. The one thing that I get all the time, and I've developed a really good answer for it, people say Rudy was offsides on his play where he sacked the quarterback. And my answer is they didn't call it. So there you go. So is it offsides if you don't call it?
You can still be offsides.
Well, so according to who? The judgment of a fan in the stands? According to the game, nobody called Rudy offsides. Therefore, as a part of the athletic historical record, he was not offside.
How many takes did you have to perform to get the sack?
One. The band at the University of Notre Dame that year, 1992, gave us, I think, 15 minutes of their half hour, which is really amazing because, you know, when you're a band member and you play every single moment that you get to play in front of 50,000 people and on television sometimes, that's glory time. You've worked your whole life as a trumpet player to be able to do that. For them to say, like, it's okay, we'll let this movie film there, we'll give up that, was a pretty nice gesture. So, and we had 2 games we were going to do it. The first game was against Boston College. When we all went off, when the real game came off and all of a sudden the movie players came on, nobody left. It was like people, I'm sure, felt like they were having an acid flashback from the 70s because there's all these teams in 70s. And they loved it. And when I sacked the quarterback, people knew exactly how to cheer because they were watching a Notre Dame player sack a Boston College player. And then the next weekend against Penn, it was snowing, so it wouldn't have looked the same. So they could only use the footage from the other game. But I got to watch Jerome Bettis score a touchdown in the last seconds of the game in that game, and it was like, you know, it was pretty
well, there's
special.
Pressure, though, for an actor with one take to do it, because normally they'll say, do it again. If you slip, if you screw it up, if you miss the sound. I mean, that's just you being an athlete is what it is, Sean.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you're a pro's pro.
There were butterflies, I'm not going to lie, but yeah, you have to look. If you do a live television show, you're live. Like, so we had a live football scene, and you gotta.
That's what this is every day.
It was a game. I know, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah,
Dan Patrick crushing it.
Yes, I'm sort of the Rudy of sports.
Yeah, you're more like the Joe Montana.
More like Joe Montana.
Like the Joe Montana.